All right. So, my goodness, this past Monday night, I think it was one of the greatest sports moments in Pittsburgh history.
Truly.
Not just Pirates or Penguins or Steelers
Right.
or anything. I think it was so unique, and I think we'll remember it for decades. What do you guys think?
I know I will. I know I will.
Yeah, you guys can speak to that better because I've never lived, I'm not a true Yinzer anyway. So I don't know about all the other, the hockey and the baseball, but yeah, I mean, I can just imagine. I can imagine why it would be, because it was just phenomenal. I mean, it was just such a nice, just touching moment in time that, like you said, it's going to be etched in our memories forever. Like, we're never going to forget it. It's going to be awesome.
And
it was awesome.
And it's just so unique because we've had, I mean, God, the Steelers have had dozens of legends and Hall of Fame players, but to have a situation where it's the end, it's the last time, for whatever reason, it just hasn't happened before, really. I can't think of another another Steeler that has had this situation where it's like, it's the end. And, usually it's either it didn't end well, like with Troy Polamalu and Heinz Ward, or you don't know it's the end because it's like, well, we'll play in the playoffs or something like that. This was so unique. I don't know if I hope it happens with Cam Hayward whenever he decides to hang it up.
I saw your tweet about that, and I totally agree. I mean, he deserves that same energy 100%. I forgot what I was going to say. I know what I was going to say was that I felt like last year people were already talking about, like, we're talking about, was Ben going to retire at the end of the season? You know what I mean? That conversation kept coming up last year. And then there was that horrible last game where he and Bouncy were crying and they were on the bench and it was so heartbreaking and people were waiting, I think, for this retirement announcement. And I felt like in a big way when he came back for the team, but he also came back for the fans. I mean, people wanted him back, and I felt like he came back and gave us this one more season. Do you know what I mean? And so it felt even extra special to me than if, like, that had been our last memory of Ben. That would have been a terrible. Can you imagine, like, those are your last memories? It would have been terrible. I know we still have another game and maybe more to play.
I think the last game, I think that very game was reason enough for him to come back, to be honest with you. I mean, I know that wasn't why. I'm sure it played a little bit into it, but it's like, God, that was a horrible game. And then they went and showed on Monday night, they went and showed the crying and the whole thing again. And I'm like, oh man, you had to go back and show that stuff again. I'd almost forgotten about Ben crying on the bench, and now you got to bring it back.
Right.
And then he comes back to the bench, that very same bench, and he's probably crying again, but for a whole different reason.
Right.
It was amazing.
I cried at the end. That was amazing.
I was bawling.
And the crowd, my goodness, I don't know if I've ever heard Heinz Field that loud.
Were you there?
I was not.
You were there? You're not?
I was not. I wish I was there.
I was supposed to be, and COVID really messed everything up, and it's unfortunate, but it's what happens right now. But I saw somebody else had tweeted the other day that they've been to so many Browns games. You know what I mean? They've seen the Steelers beat the Browns so many times, both in Cleveland and in Pittsburgh. Do you know what I mean? They've been to all these games. They've been to special games, last players games, and things like that. And I was thinking that I had been to a Super Bowl and some other really important games, playoff games and things like that we weren't supposed to win and did. And I don't remember ever seeing the crowd the way they were on Monday night. Not ever that electric. I mean, you could feel it through your television.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was really something amazing. And even though the week leading up to it, everybody kept using the word potential and probably and likely, even though we knew it was going to happen, for whatever reason, not until that game, you know what I mean? Did it really hit me where I was just like, wow, we are watching one of Ben Roethlisberger's final games.
Yeah.
ever. And just like, it's baffling, like how long he's been at it,
Yeah,
and
a
just
long
like,
time.
I almost thought about writing something about like the price of gas in 2004, you know what I mean? Or the price
Somebody
of a
did
loaf
that.
of bread.
It was like $1.85 or
Right.
something like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just,
I know so many people who don't really remember ever having
Right.
don't remember another quarterback. I mean,
Isn't that crazy?
that's an amazing
Yeah.
impact.
Yeah.
An
I mean, I
amazing
was
Isn't
a
that
impact.
tiny kid.
crazy
I was
that Ben is the only quarterback you've known?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's amazing. That's
Mhm.
amazing. That's how long he's done it. I get a lot of crap because I say he's the greatest Steeler. Obviously, I think Joe Green is probably the greatest, but Ben is right up there because he's done it for what, 18 years now.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And at a high level, he's always going to be on like
Yeah.
my Mount Rushmore of Steelers or whatever. I just think and I think he personifies so much everything that is Pittsburgh. Do you know what I mean? He's not only embraced the city. I think I think he's become like a true Yinzer. He really has. He really just came in and fell in love with the city, and the city fell in love with him. And I know we had some bumps in the road, but he matured and he grew up and went on to win his Super Bowls and was loyal to us and did everything a great leader would do.
Mm-hmm.
It's just amazing how it all happened with the draft. That was the year of that was the year of Eli Manning and that whole drama where basically he refused to go to the Chargers because the Chargers had the number 1 pick.
And they took Rivers.
And they took
they swapped.
Yeah,
Right.
He refused to play for the Chargers, so they engineered a trade to the Giants and and all that stuff. Which, by the way, Eli, screw you. Like you don't get to pick where you go. I thought that was pretty much. I mean,
I remember watching that.
In the grand scheme of things, it didn't matter because they're all 3 Hall of Famers. Oh, I don't know if I'm not sure if Eli, but still, he was really good. But but still, from what I understand, Bill Cowher desperately wanted Phillip Rivers. That's who he wanted.
Yeah.
And you hear different things, but it's like, wow, bet he was going to take a linebacker or some crap like that. And Dan Rooney's like, no, you're taking this guy. So but the way it worked out, he was perfect for Pittsburgh.
He was.
Because he wasn't this like, he wasn't like Kyler Murray, a little guy running around, or Russell Wilson, or a Tom Brady that's a pretty boy or something like that. Ben was maybe the toughest quarterback ever, maybe the strongest quarterback ever.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you look at some of those highlights, and he is like defenders are coming at him, and he's fighting them off. Sometimes he's carrying them.
There was a picture, there was a clip that showed the other day of him, and there was like snow blowing down, and Ben looked like a giant sequoia, like on the field. He wouldn't move, and the defenders were barreling down on him, and it was amazing. And that is always the Ben I remember, Throw the goddamn ball, Ben. Throw the ball.
Yeah. Oh man, I can't tell you how many games, how many years. Just oh my god, like, throw it. You know what I mean? And that's just and even though he would do that, it was like he would he would just extend. He would make when we were on the couch screaming at him to throw it would be some of the most amazing plays ever.
Yeah, he would find a way to make something happen.
He had that amazing ability to dance around in the pocket and buy time. He was never, he wasn't the guy that was going to scramble and run. He was going to be the guy that just like ran around and just bought time until there was an open receiver, and then he would usually hit it, and it was amazing.
And how many times did we see him taking hits and still throwing the ball and still making accurate throws? Do you know what I mean? As he's getting tackled or as they're trying to tackle him. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
There was that time, it was from a training camp and usually they have they're hitting you with like pads to simulate defenders, and you're supposed to avoid the pads and make the throw. And Ben just takes the pads and just throws them, just picks them up and throws them back. I'm like, it's totally him. It's like I'm not going to avoid these people. I'm either going to fight them or whatever. I'm going to take the hit. You know, and when they changed the offensive coordinator to Todd Haley, and they basically said, you gotta change your style. You can't dance around all the time. You gotta, just throw it. He hated it. He hated Haley, but it extended his career so that he could play 18 years. Because if not, he would have been retired a long time ago.
No, they show those posters of like Bionic Ben with all the things he's had replaced and repaired and fixed and cleaned up. And it's crazy. It's like every part of his body.
Yeah. And the games that he's played in with the injuries that he's had, I mean, he's had like torn ligaments in his shoulder that he's played with. I mean, we got the broken nose versus the Ravens, whatever year that was. He's played with he's played with these injuries that are so many ankle things that he's played with, and it's just like, wow, it's amazing, and it's hard to think that there'll ever be a quarterback like him again, not only for the Steelers, but in the NFL, just in terms of that toughness and just in terms of that,
I can't think of anyone else like him.
Right.
That was like the last of a breed, you know what I mean? Like the last of those old tough players, and you just don't have those guys anymore. Not like that. Not quarterbacks.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, but also it's time.
It
is time to go. It is time.
What he threw like 50 times on Monday night and for like
104 yards.
Right. It's like,
I don't want him to go out badly or any worse. Do you know what I mean? I don't want this to be something where the fans are booing him out of the stadium like we did to Tommy Maddox. Do you know what I mean? I don't want that. I want him to go out on his own terms. And I feel like I was concerned with him coming back this season that there was going to be problems. And I know it hasn't been a perfect season, but it hasn't been a complete wash, and it's time.
And shout out to the Browns. Thank you for sucking so bad to make the night special, because if it was like, if they were down like, 24-0 at halftime or something like that, the crowd would not be into it. It would be a less thing. Also, it was a Monday night. It was perfect. It was like the whole country is watching.
Yeah.
It was just so, and then at the end
with his kids.
The kids,
so cute. So
Najee scores the touchdown. It's like, oh, dude, we didn't get Ben for victory formation, and then the defense comes through with an interception. It's like he's getting his one more snap,
right? One more snap.
And then even then, Tomlin tried to call a timeout so he could get even one more snap.
Right? Yeah,
that was amazing.
It was beautiful. It was perfect. It was absolutely.
It was perfect. And they kept talking about him wanting to be up by 2 scores to be able to ride out the end of the game and enjoy it. And I was like, it's not Steeler football. That's not how we do things here. Don't be silly. You're going to be a little bit stressed.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. I mean, it wouldn't be a Steelers game if we weren't.
We couldn't have written that any better as fans. To me, it was really. There's a lot of games where I cheer for just a blowout already. Let's just kill somebody. But that game was really perfect. It was exactly what we wanted.
We can do that in Baltimore. We can blow them out.
Please.
In Baltimore.
There you go. There you go.
Right.
And that it was against the Browns was just chef's
so
kiss.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and Baker Mayfield is just like stinking it up. Like, oh my gosh. And the fact that the Steelers
no. Baker is a really good quarterback, and the Browns need to keep him forever.
Oh,
give him a 20-year contract.
Yeah.
Listen to this. I was at a party that night, and a friend of mine who's from Pittsburgh was like, I wouldn't mind if the Steelers, if they released the Baker Mayfield and the Steelers picked him up. I was like everybody was just looking at him like, dude, what? And he was dead serious. And I was like, how are you? Like, why?
Why?
Well, here's the thing. Who would you rather have next year as a starting quarterback? Mason Rudolph, Dwayne Haskins, or Baker Mayfield. Of those three choices, I don't know who would be better.
Dwayne Haskins, because I haven't seen him play yet.
Exactly. God, I mean, it's just, the Browns are funny. The Browns, they acted like they were so great. And in the grand scheme of things, in the last, 20 years or 25 years or whatever, they've been to the playoffs once. But they act like it was a foregone every year, the past few years, that there was a foregone conclusion that they're going to the Super Bowl.
They talk way too much trash to have the record they do. It's not the fun banter that you have with like other fan bases. It's really angry, aggressive, nasty. Like they really nasty, come at you, personal stuff. And like, you don't win enough to be that nasty. I don't know. The Ravens are an actual difficult team for us to beat at times. And I don't have that kind of discussion with any of their fans. It's only Browns fans that are like personally attacking me. And I don't say anything to them.
All I hear between the Ravens and Steelers is mostly respect between the players, because because they're so similar. They're successful franchises that basically do it the same way. It's like hard-nosed, physical, we're going to beat you up. And usually the AFC North comes down between the Steelers and the Ravens. It's like, okay, let's go at it. Whoever wins, who's going to win the division. And it's like, okay, it's like, you have a big heavyweight fight. It's like, okay, you won, good game.
Speaking of which, how did we all go to sleep and woke up with the Bengals in charge of the division? It is the craziest, most surreal feeling in the world to have them winning.
I picked them I remember beginning of the season, I picked them to go 6-11. I thought just like, well, it's a young team. They're, maybe they'll do some things, but they're still learning, and it's a young team, and maybe they'll win some games. Whoops. They beat the Chiefs, and it wasn't even, it was close, but still, the same Chiefs team that blew out the Steelers. That's like, they have arrived. They have, Joe Burrow is a beast. Chase is a beast.
And this is dangerous. They have you do this well, you get confident, you know what I mean? In your abilities, you smell success, you want more of it. This is dangerous for next year.
No. Yeah. Okay. Maybe next year. Yeah. They're going to find a way to screw it up. Basically, the owner of the Bengals is a cheap idiot. Well, basically like the owner of the Pittsburgh Pirates. Yeah. And he just cares about saving money. And when it's time to pay those guys, be like, nah, that's okay. I'd rather keep my money. That guy, all he cares about is saving money. Yeah. So they'll find a way to screw it up. But still, in the meantime, next couple years, they're gonna win some games. They're gonna be something.
Yeah, my boyfriend reminded me that I ripped on the Bengals for weeks after the draft. Like, they drafted Jamar Chase. Like, don't they need offensive linemen? Like, what were they doing that? He's like, yeah. I'm like, whatever.
Good call, Allison.
Right, yeah.
Right. No, a lot of people said that. A lot of people said the Bengals were idiots for doing that. Right. Yeah. And I remember like early on in the season, Jamar Chase had like a really good game. He had like 3-4 touchdowns or something like that. And somebody posted a thing, touchdowns, Jamar Chase 4, Penei Sewell 0.
Right, yeah, because that's who everybody was saying.
That's who they passed up.
But the Jaguars did the same thing. They got the Trevor Lawrence's buddy. I don't know, of course he got hurt, but still, that was a really dumb pick. But yeah,
it was.
The Bengals have everything. They have the awesome quarterback, the awesome wide receiver, a really good running back, and a good defense. They could go really far, but
they really could.
It's just the thing of they're young, so we'll see what happens.
Right.
They seem to just find a way to get it done, which is kind of amazing. Do you know what I mean? I was surprised.
It's amazing. But yeah, the dominance Ben had. I don't want to. I don't know exactly what the records are. The record over the Browns was, what was it, like 25-3-1 or something like
Something
that?
like that. Yeah. It was
My
crazy.
goodness. My
Yeah.
goodness. And I know he had a really good record against the Bengals too.
Yeah.
It just makes me wonder. I mean, because the Steelers had, I think, the 10th pick in that draft in 2004, and the Browns were right before that, and they took Kellen Winslow.
Oh my God.
The tight end.
And Ben was like kind of bitter.
Oh yeah,
he had, because it was a hometown Ohio guy.
That was his hometown.
He had the list. He had the list of all of those teams that passed him up. He's like, I'm coming for you.
Coming for you.
Yeah, the extra motivation for them. But what if the Browns drafted Roethlisberger?
We'd hate Ben, and
we would hate.
We'd say
Ben.
all the things about him that they say.
I think he would have he would have a good career.
He might not have stayed though, because people don't always stay in Cleveland. You know what I mean? So he may not have been a franchise quarterback. He may have stayed there for a few years and gotten traded somewhere else or gone somewhere else.
They would have found a way to screw it up.
I'm sure. Yeah. That's true. Yeah.
They would not have had the pieces in place. And what if the Steelers did end up with Phillip Rivers? I wonder if there would be as much success.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, Rivers is good too. I don't
think so. Yeah. Rivers was good, but he was a different quarterback. I don't know. There was something about Ben and his kind of just his down to earth and his kind of gritty determination that I think appealed to the guys who play for the Steelers a lot of times, like Brett Kiesel and some of those guys. And I think he just earned people's respect. You know what I mean? You didn't hear, not to knock Rivers, I'm not knocking him at all, but you just don't hear those same kind of stories about him and his teammates all the time. Do you know what I mean? I just felt like Ben really earned everybody's respect through hard work.
I think he just had some really, some of those Chargers teams were just not that good.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
There's a lot of turnover out there too. There's been a lot of turnover.
Yeah. But who was the best offensive teammate that Ben had throughout his career? Would you say Antonio Brown or Heinz Ward?
Heinz
Ward.
You think?
Yeah. What do you mean? What do you mean? Like, how do you mean?
Like the best? I don't know. The best combination. The best. I don't know. The best. I'm not sure what I mean, but because
I think that he and AB were really hot. I think they hooked up. I think they had chemistry on the field. I think before whatever happened to Brown and he went crazy, I think that they were really something. They were really an amazing duo. But I think the Steelers saw the writing on the wall for AB, and letting him go when we let him go was the right thing to do. But I felt like Ben and Heinz always had that. I don't know. I just felt like they always had that chemistry. I felt like they had that connection. I just feel like they didn't always make as many splashy plays or as flashy as all the time as AB did. But then, of course, they also did do a lot of the trick plays back then that they didn't do with Antonio Brown, and Heinz Ward was a big part of those, and I was a huge fan of those plays.
Yeah, that was always cool to see what they had up there.
Yeah, that was always fun. That was always fun. And Heinz could block. I mean, that was
he could.
That was something a force to be reckoned with out in the field. He provided some other opportunities.
That's one thing that just. Another thing that drives me crazy about Chase Claypool is Chase Claypool refuses to block.
Yeah,
that's disgusting. That's horrible. Like there was one of the few times that Najee actually got a hole, and Chase Claypool could have blocked someone, and he just whiffed on it. And he's done that many times this season.
Yeah.
That's disgusting. I mean, he really needs to get his head on straight.
I don't know what that is. I don't know if that's like a fear thing. Like
it's not fear. It's just laziness.
You think it's just lazy?
It's refusal to get physical, which is he's supposed to be a big physical guy and known for his physicality.
Supposed to be what he's doing. Yeah.
Exactly. Dude,
he was more physical in college than he is now.
I don't know what's wrong with him, but he had a horrible sophomore season, and hopefully he figures it out, because he's really a disappointment right now.
Yeah.
But okay, so there's Heinz Ward and Antonio Brown. That's one hill. But Heath Miller, oh God, that's another favorite. And then you have the the wide receivers that weren't around long enough, but still were awesome. Remember Plaxico Burress.
Yep.
Santonio Holmes,
Antonio Holmes.
him. Mike Wallace. That was
Mike
another
Wallace.
special connection.
That was.
Ben and Juju had a pretty special connection, especially when Antonio Brown was still here.
Yeah.
Connected with Juju a lot. And Martavis Bryant. Oh God.
Oh yeah.
So much potential there. And Antoine Randall. There was another, that he was
I even think like Eli Rogers, I was super bummed when they let him go, or
I was too.
I was like, man, I thought he could have been like I really thought he could have been something, and they did have a bit of a connection there, but I don't know what happened with that, but
he's a classy guy.
Ray McLeod is the Eli Rogers of this team.
Right.
He is. He kind of is. Yeah.
He's the everything of this team.
He is.
Yeah, that's a whole what? I still am just like, I don't even understand. I think it's because Tomlin loves fast guys. And
that makes sense.
I don't know what happened. I don't know. I mean, I get the thing with Chase Claypool, but I don't understand why James Washington is just I don't know. I don't know what happened there, but they just don't like him. But
and it's like a couple writers had said, well, it was because he demanded that trade or whatever, but it's like, still, come on, man.
So, I don't buy that. This is a professional business. Do you know what I mean? You aren't going to waste money and playing somebody and then prove a point and not, you know what I mean? That just doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
I tell you what, they also miss Juju.
Greatly.
Big time.
Yeah.
Because really they don't have a wide receiver that could block right now. And Juju was very physical. So
no, we counted on him a lot.
Yeah. Yep. But so now we're on to Baltimore, the last game. Should be
not the last game. Last regular season game.
I'm telling you what.
Hope is alive.
Okay, here's what's gonna happen. Here's what's gonna happen. I think the Jaguars are either going to beat the Colts or it's going to be a really close game. Yeah. They're going to be the Colts will be up
heartbreaking.
The Colts are going to be up 22-20 and the Jaguars are driving for a field goal and they go for the field goal and they miss. And that's why the Steelers don't make the playoffs.
Are you
that would be heartbreaking. Right. What did you give him?
Right. Yeah. I don't know, man.
I'm telling you, weirder things have happened.
Oh, they have. And I hate so much ever that you have any part of your destiny in some other team's hands. That's such a terrible place to be. Although I have to say it feels good to just have any hope at all. But yeah, that's a terrible feeling.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's all Detroit's fault.
Different about this year. Usually I'm like,
those half games kill you.
I just don't want them to go. I don't want them to go to the play. I just don't want them to go. I just don't.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I mean,
I don't know what I don't know what it is.
Let's say you're that I totally understand that. Let's say they go to the playoffs. You really think they're going to beat Cincinnati or Kansas City or Buffalo? No.
That's probably why I don't want them to go, because it's like, why go and get all and then not do anything.
And not do anything. Yeah. I can see that. I felt that way a little bit last year about it.
You never know.
Right.
You never know.
Stranger things have happened. We've had some crazy come from behind wins. I just don't see usually you see the downhill kind of momentum pickup as the end of the season goes on. You know what I mean? Those years that we've made that late season run into the playoffs, into the playoffs or to the Super Bowl for sure.
Yeah.
And that season we thought we were going nowhere. And the next thing you know, so stranger things have happened. But we don't have that kind of downhill momentum. We're kind of sputtering along right now.
Yeah. And we don't have that. We don't have that kind of team either that we did in 06 or whatever.
Whatever that was.
We just don't have that kind of magic. You know what I mean? That we had there. So.
I mean, the circumstances are totally different, but that's something that happens almost every single year now, that you sputter going into the playoffs, or I'm sorry, you sputter at the end of the season.
Yeah.
I mean, this whole year is just so weird. The offensive line actually decided to kind of start to play this past game, which is a whole other thing with that offensive line coach. And
it's interesting because so you wonder, there's three things that I think sort of played into that, like a minor thing, and it's not even physical. I think it's more they wanted to play for Ben.
Yeah.
But you look at JC Hassenauer,
did a great job,
whatever his name is, and he just, I mean,
did a great job.
And now I'm looking at the injury report, and Kendrick Green is practicing. So, and for whatever reason, I feel like Tomlin, I think if Green is good, he's going to put him back in there at center. And I think that's the wrong
I really hope not.
I hope not. He really needs to be moved to guard. I've been saying that for weeks and weeks and weeks. And it's not a knock on the kid. I give the kid so much credit to go out there and play week after week in a position that you're not terribly good at, and the fans are beating you up on social media. Do you know what I mean? I give and he's a rookie. I mean, I give the kid like all the credit in the world, but it's the wrong position for him. Center is hard to play. It's not for everybody, and he's proven it's on him. So let's see if Hassenauer's got it. Put him back there. Do you know what I mean? What do we have to lose?
He's had to do on-the-job training. He basically just got thrown into the fire, and he did what he could.
For a position he didn't even want.
Exactly. It wasn't even the it wasn't even the position. So but I mean, and Hassenauer is nothing special, but he's better than Green. So
We'll see. That offensive line coordinator, like you said, man, he whipped him into shape in that short period of time that he had, at least from what from what I saw. I mean, we could end up talking about it, and then they go into Baltimore and take a shit. You know what I mean? Who knows? But I mean, they clearly looked like, I mean, Najee had his best 188 yards.
Best game.
Whoa, and the Browns awful.
It almost doesn't matter what the reason is, though. Is it playing for Ben? Is it the change in position? Is it the new coach? But like, hey, the light bulb should have gone on now that like, hey, we can do this, and here's the roadmap. So, I mean, maybe it doesn't have to be perfect, but the three of us have been saying it all season. To see them improving every week would be nice. And so to see them at least continue this for the last game would be incredible.
Yeah. And they've just been the players and the coaches and just been singing. So the offensive line coordinator's nickname is SEMO, like his name is Chris Morgan.
Yeah, Chris Morgan.
They've just been talking about him all week. And I sort of feel like, if he goes into Baltimore and they have a similar type of situation there,
he could
Tomlin
be the offensive line coach.
He's not going to.
It's kind of an audition.
Right.
Yeah.
It's if whatever works.
What better proof is there than, do you know what I mean? Seeing this kind of like huge turnaround at the end of the year. I don't know that you could get anything that would prove any better than this.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, in 1 week they have improved. So
and Tomlin doesn't go out there and hire guys with names.
No.
So I mean, why not have SEMO as the offensive line coordinator next year?
Hey. He knows the system, knows the player.
A catchy name it goes a long way.
Right.
That has some weight.
All right. Well, let's see whether we make the playoffs or not. Yeah, fingers crossed. Hey, none of us are wearing bags on our heads anymore.
No bags.
That's
I
improvement.
thought about it, but I was like, you know what?
I was gonna make a happy one, and I was like, don't do that. Just be happy.
I'm Iron Man this week.
Hey, there you go.
There you go.
All right, guys. Hey, thanks so much.
Yep.
Thank you.
This is awesome. Go Steelers. We'll see.
Go
Jaguars. Come on.
Go Jaguars.
Yins are in Florida. Do something. Go talk to the Jags. Give them a pep talk.
Yeah, you and I, LeeAnn, we'll go. We'll drive to Jacksonville.
Yins are down there in Florida now. Go down there, talk to them Jags and that.
We'll wear all our Steelers gear and go cheer the Jags on.
Yeah, there we go.
Pep talk.
Yep.
All right, guys. I'll see you.
See ya.
Take care.